Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Dylan here. We have some major updates regarding Zohran Mandani, who is going to be the next New York City mayor, and the truth about Zohran Mandani has officially come out. President Trump has threatened to arrest Zohran if he does follow through with what he has promised to do, like stopping ICE agents from arresting illegals and arresting criminals, many of whom are murderers, rapists, drug dealers, people who do horrible things to children. President Trump has won the popular vote, the national vote, all 7 swing states. He's also won over 80% of the counties in America. And, you know, regardless of you see the liberals celebrating this victory in New York City, it's a very liberal city. And the entire country, however, has very much shifted towards the conservative movement. And even President Trump has said that Zohran Mandani, although this victory for New York is really bad for New York, it's actually a huge gift to the Republican Party, because it's going to just showcase how horrible these ideologies go out. And yeah, there's this little, you know, super liberal sector in New York City, but across the entire country, it's getting more conservative. So we're going to tune in to President Trump talking about Zohran, but before we do, we're going to read the Bible, because God comes first. Amen? Today's Bible reading comes from Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Amen. So comment amen down below, and now let's jump into the video. Okay, so President Trump has officially come out and addressed the nation, warning Mandani after he said dangerous things last night in his speech. Let's listen in.
I want to touch about New York City real quick. You're a New Yorker. You famously kind of had a fight with Ed Koch back in the 70s and 80s as he was a mayor. He obviously wasn't a democratic socialist, as you call the mayor-elect Zohran Mandani a communist. But is there any part of you that looks at Mamdani and says, it is good for you politically to have a big foil there that you're going to talk about for the next 3 years?
You know, I'm so torn, because I would like to see the new mayor do well, because I love New York. I really love New York. When I left New York for Washington, New York was doing really well, but there were some bad signs. The bad sign was a guy named de Blasio. So the signs of de Blasio, that was the beginning, and it was bad. This one, we're going to look. For 1,000 years, communism has not worked. Communism, or the concept of communism, has not worked. I tend to doubt it's going to work this time.
Did you see his victory speech?
It's literally never worked. Yeah, I thought it was a very angry speech, certainly angry toward me, and I think he should be very nice to me. You know, I'm the one that sort of has to approve a lot of things coming to him, so he's off to a bad start.
At one point he says, turn the volume up.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
You know what really scares me about Zohran is the amount of acting that he's doing. He really has 2 faces. He's really good at putting on this really mean person. You can't trust someone like this when you see them so like this, and then in other clips they're like, ah, like, and he won't stop smiling. Like, he's just like, he's almost like an actor or something. Like, you see him here and then watch him here. Like, watch him here. This is like a drag show where, look at his face here. He just doesn't stop smiling. Like, he almost has like 2 personas, right?
Pleasure.
Now, a year ago...
So y'all gonna have to...
It's like he has this one persona where he's just like...
We got an hour.
Smiling and laughing, like, so I'm so gentle. I'm just this gentle young guy.
Of the show.
Look at him.
So y'all gonna have to calm down so we can talk to him.
Okay. Well, you certainly have some fans here.
See, like, he's just like, I'm just so cute and innocent. And then in other clips, he's like, angry. Like, that's what I don't trust, because that's a scary guy.
Of us.
Look at him here. It's so crazy. The flip-flop is different.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
How do you respond to that? Does that affect anything you're going to do?
It's a very dangerous statement for him to make, actually. And, you know, you talk about danger. I think it's a very dangerous statement for him to make. He has to be a little bit respectful of Washington, because if he's not, he doesn't have a chance of succeeding. And I want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed. I don't want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed, and we'll see what happens.
Did you see reaching out to him?
I would say he should reach out to us, really. I think he should reach out. Right. I'm here. We'll see what happens, but I would think that it would be more appropriate for him to reach out to us.
So speaking of reaching out, is there a deal that can be made to end this government?
Wow, so he should reach out to us, he said. President Trump, he says, for 1,000 years, communism hasn't worked. I tend to doubt it's going to work this time.
You know, I'm so torn because I would like to see the new mayor do well because I love New York. I really love New York.
Yeah, he does love New York. But, you know, after all this, it's pretty crazy. And here's Tucker Carlson reacting to all of this, too.
As for Mamdani, I mean, you know, there are a lot of things to say. I won't go on about it, but I just found it, speaking of Israel taking over the conversation, this is a guy who said in public and then defended his statement that we're going to tax whites more because they're white.
Yeah.
And nobody cared. And it's like, what the hell? Bottom line, without getting all worked up, I will say it's our biggest city. It's 8 million people. Cities are incredibly complex organisms, take centuries to build. My ancestors helped build New York, by the way, but can be destroyed very, very quickly. Look at Johannesburg, 30 years and it's a husk. It's a joke, and it was a beautiful city. Look at Gary, Indiana, Detroit. Look at almost all of our cities, Baltimore. And that could happen to New York City very soon. In fact, it will. I have a child who lives here. Called me today. I was like, I'm leaving. Not an ideological person. It's just like we know where this is going because it's happened in dozens and dozens. In fact, it's happened to almost every single big city we have. And now it's happening to our biggest city, and it's just the greatest tragedy. And I feel like it doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen. It's just like your house. If you allow, as the father, as the patriarch in your family, chaos to break out and you don't settle it down and set limits and say, I mean, I would say my family, you know, I'm all about no. That's my job. I don't like saying no, but that's my duty. Someone has to be like, no, we're not doing that. We're not, you know, pissing in the street. We're not having sex in an ATM vestibule. We're not pushing people in front of subway cars. We're not smoking drugs in the park. Like, how about no? And because no one is willing to say that, it just inexorably falls apart. And wow. I think it's the saddest thing I've ever seen.
The saddest thing he has ever seen, he says. And I guess Mandani actually said that he would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu.
The next mayor of New York City, Zohran Mandani, Democratic Socialist, the local critic of Israel and of yourself, and has said he would arrest you if you came to New York City. If he was mayor, is that something you take seriously, or are you concerned about that? Do you have a response to that?
No, I'm not concerned about that.
I'll get him out.
Trump says, I'll get him out. Isn't that crazy, guys? Wall Street leaving in drones as Mandani win fuels housing boom in Florida. People are actually doing a mass exodus now of New York. This is crazy, guys. People are fleeing New York now that he's going to be the next mayor. Let's tune in.
Speaking of Mandani, the effect of Mamdani in full swing with nervous New Yorkers turning Florida into a real estate hotspot yet again as they look to flee south. Fox Business writing the following, quote, election anxiety in New York City has turned into a real estate windfall in South Florida, West Palm Beach and Miami, surpassing New York City as the world's fastest growing wealth hubs. One Florida developer also saying his company has closed more than $100 million in signed contracts from New York buyers just the past few months. Real estate experts Dolly and Jenny Lenz join me now. Hello, Dolly. Hello, Jenny, as well.
Good morning.
Dolly, what are your clients telling you following Mamdani's big win?
Well, certainly Wall Street got the message, right? Because they're all leaving in droves, building lots of buildings in Dallas. They've been building in Tennessee, building in Florida. So the business people have gotten the message and are implementing action plans to counter it. Individuals have less choice. You know, they have to have a job where they work where they work and they have to stay in New York, perhaps. They can't just move to Florida. Right. They don't have a job there.
Jamie Dimon says you have to be in the office 5 days a week. You're in the office 5 days a week. The other Fortune 100 companies, you have to be in the office on average 4 days a week. So you can't really just up and move like you could over COVID. But people are moving to Florida in droves. They are moving to Texas, where there's opportunity.
Let's talk a little bit more about Texas. for a second here, Dolly.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to talk a little bit more about Texas. The New York Post reporting that Dallas, to your point, has more recently become a major draw for these big financial firms that were born and raised in the Big Apple. One CEO telling them that New York is still the financial capital of the U.S. and one of the financial capitals of the world, but Texas can compete. And Dolly, I've heard it described as from Wall Street to Y'all Street. JP Morgan Chase, you mentioned them. Jamie Dimon, I heard your daughter mention them, employs actually more people in Texas than in New York. So what ultimately does happen when Mamdani takes over? Because all this stuff happened even before he was elected.
You know, I think nothing will change that much in the very short term. But in the long term, since everyone's getting the message now, they're going to be looking even further into places like Dallas, you know, to relocate their firms and to set up shop. So I think that's a very big negative in the long term for New York.
Right. Like you said, there are 24,000 employees in New York for JP Morgan and 31,000 in Dallas, which is pretty staggering, even though, like we were talking about Jamie Dimon, he just built a $3 billion new headquarters in New York City. So we're going to see that trend moving forward as well, with all other firms moving down there. Like Charles Schwab, they just completely relocated from California. Goldman Sachs is building an 800,000 square foot headquarters there as well. So, you know, we're definitely seeing a lot of move to Dallas.
Look, Texas is welcoming them, right? And New York is saying, yeah, you know, we're not going to make it easy for you.
Let's talk about the OG of relocation. We're talking about Florida. And I've been talking to a lot of realtors over the course of, you know, the last couple of years. And it seemed like the beginning of this year, Florida slowed. Florida's slow to a crawl because of high taxes and high insurance. But I'm getting the sense that over the last few months, that Florida is once again returning to boomtown because of Mamdani. You're in the trenches too, ladies. What are you seeing?
Right. Steve Ross has made the $10 billion investment in West Palm Beach. So many of the people that leased in his Hudson Yards development moved down already to West Palm Beach, and we're only going to see that accelerate.
And
yeah, Florida's booming.
Yeah, and Hudson Yards is actually gorgeous. Like, it's really nice over there. So if you're leaving Hudson Yards, which is new and nice, to go to Florida, that's telling you you are really concerned about the political climate if you're making a move like that. Real estate experts Dolly and Jenny Lenz. Thank you, ladies. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And look at him here, rewatching Zohran's speech, and it's pretty amazing how right after winning, he dropped the smiley act and returned back to being this guy. Yeah, he has this whole smiling act that he does, and then he goes right back to it's almost like he has bipolar. Maybe he has bipolar? Look at him.
How many more New Yorkers not charged? Do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Hyman? How many more New Yorkers will not target? How many more New Yorkers not charged? Do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Hyman? How many more?
Jeez Louise, how annoying is this guy?
It was like so low key, you guys.
Like, this is, again, how he talks. This is his smiley act. Look at it here.
You also had this photo go viral recently that was taken of you and your wife, the incredible drama.
Yes, okay. The incredible drama.
He just like...
It was like so low key. You guys were like out for sushi, and apparently this is like, you can no longer be a socialist anymore because you ate out at a dining facility, you know?
Yeah.
But can you...
It's just how he acts. And then it immediately flips back to just this guy.
How many more New Yorkers not charged? Do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe in the First Amendment?
Like, you can't trust a guy like that. You just simply can't. Like, I don't know what else you want to say. But yeah, Doug in Exile, they're already regretting their vote for Zohran Mandani. It's like people are fleeing in droves. Take a listen, guys, and go subscribe to Doug in Exile. I'll have a link in my description box.
The Mamdani exodus from New York has begun. Businesses fleeing, people fleeing, especially Jews. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. The good news is the Democrat Party's dead. The bad news is the new party we oppose is a communist party. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Here's Laura Ingraham on the real estate exodus.
Some New Yorkers are thinking of packing up and getting out already. They call it the Mamdani migration. The New York Post is reporting that real estate agents are getting flooded with phone calls. Luxury real estate agent Ryan Serhant told the Post that his #1 job will be moving people from New York to Florida again. And based on the results, clients are going to hold off on making any kind of investment in New York City.
Anyone planning on moving into New York City? We warned about this. This was 6 months ago. We did videos on Kevin O'Leary going, businesses, if Mamdani wins, businesses, no. New York is closed for business. And if you're a Jew still in New York, I've got Jewish friends, a number of them in New York. I don't know what the hell you're doing there. They can't sell their property fast enough to get out.
Lydia Moynihan knows all about this. She's a financial correspondent at The Post and broke this story. Lydia, I had a bunch of my friends over the weekend when they saw this coming saying, oh my goodness, I wish I sold last year. This is a nightmare. How could this be happening? So is this Mamdani migration a real thing?
Now the market's flooded too. All the property values are going to go down when people do want to sell. Going to be a buyer's market. If you want to move to New York and become a part of the gulag, join George Orwell's 1984 in New York. There's going to be a lot of property available.
I think it is, and I hate to say that. Look, what's not surprising is it in the wake of him clinching that Democratic nomination that wealthy people, really anyone with sort of a vested interest in the city, was exploring options of where they could move. Florida, of course, is a well-trodden path at this point. But
Ron DeSantis has little dollar signs in his eyes. Ron DeSantis is going, this is the easiest win I ever had. He's about to expand his tax base with a bunch of New Yorkers.
Much more concerning is the fact that people are actually walking away from deals. So people who were either in process of signing and purchasing an apartment or, potentially buying something in the future, they're walking away. And so for the next 4 months, I think we're going to see a decrease in the investment in New York City. Anyone with a business is going to be a little hesitant. And of course, that's going to be amplified for 4 years if Mamdani is elected. And of course,
these are because the dumb communist kids that put Mamdani in office, especially the women, highest percentage of female voters, young, went to Mamdani. Enjoy yourself. You're not going to have any business. Anyone who has a normal business who was doing a deal would never do it now. So you get to enjoy this hellhole that you've created.
Laura, the irony is that these are the very people who he needs to be paying for all of these programs. And the things he's outlined sound like Doge cuts, right? Money, millions of dollars to transgender surgeries for minors. And there's really no way that he can do that.
Guess how Zohran is going to make up for that lost income from these businesses? You know what he's going to do? Raise the taxes on the ones dumb enough to remain. This is survival of the fittest. And the ones that decided to remain, you're going to get double hit because of the lack of income from the businesses that have already left. They have one answer: tax the rich, redistribute wealth.
If, as I think people will, they're going to pack up and leave.
Yeah, pack up and go. Well, you shouldn't have been in New York in the first place. We're going to get to more of the Mamdani effect. Here's one of them. Here's Harmeet Dillon, who we love, works for the Trump administration. She says a very powerful statement of moral clarity from Cardinal Robert Sarah says, as a bishop, it is my duty to warn the West. The barbarians are already inside the city. Yeah, named Zohran Mamdani. Here's Ron DeSantis. He has a $5,000 recruitment bonus we give to new police officers will be utilized by a number of these New York City police officers that are leaving New York to get a job. And Ron DeSantis is giving each one a $5,000 recruitment bonus. Now, New York PD is probably the greatest police department in the United States. They've got it down. By the way, they have the lowest percentage of unholstered guns anywhere because they have a spidey sense to know when it's time to draw it. I had two uncles that were police officers in California. One was a police chief. There is no reason to risk your life serving when the mayor hates you and believes your department shouldn't even exist. There's a tweet: just about every New York PD cop I've spoken to has told me they're putting their papers in to leave. They're not about to stay in a city where the mayor and the people who elected them openly hates them. Look, if you're a New York cop and someone thinks that you looked at them sideways, they're going to sue you. Your paperwork's going to be looked at. They're going to blight your record. Your career is over. It's cool, though, when you're getting assaulted, robbed, or hard, a social worker or violence interrupter is going to show up and make everything all right. Elections have consequences, and you're about to get hit with a major consequence. Here's Governor Bill Lee saying right here in Tennessee going, hey, come on over, my people.
Hey, everybody. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. In light of the recent election results, I thought it might be a good time to remind you that Tennessee is the best state in the country for doing business.
He's trying to go over Ron DeSantis' head, which isn't very hard because Ron DeSantis is 4 feet tall. He's going, hey, come on over to Tennessee, New York. Don't go over to Florida.
If you are a New York City business owner and you don't like the direction your city has headed, I have a message for you that Tennessee is open for business. We have one of the strongest economies in the country.
True.
We have one of the lowest tax bases in the country.
True.
We have a workforce that is ready for any industry, a workforce that is ready to meet the needs of your company. And our Department of Economic and Community Development is ready to help you make a move right now. In fact, Tennessee is one of the most moved to states for families, for people, for companies from around the globe, because we believe that opportunity and security and freedom are important for everyone.
He says one of the top states because he knows Florida is above him. You should be offering tax breaks, dude. We're going to get down much more of the Mamdani effect. This one, I think, is the worst. London Mayor Khan. Congrats, New York. He congratulates Mamdani. Khan from death. I spit at thee, Kirk.
Well, there are many parallels that New York and London have, and there are many parallels that Zohran and I have. And congratulate the city of New York. They've chosen, in a bitterly contested election, hope over fear, unity over division, and I'm already experiencing the ripples of hope and happiness coming from his victory.
That's what hope sounds like. Hope and victory and hijabs. This isn't a hijab, but this is a head job. Here's Candace Owens with her take on why Mamdani won.
Mamdani won. Okay, that's kind of the big story. The Republican establishment have a lot of excuses regarding that win.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. The funny farm, where life is beautiful all the time.
Excuses are ranging from because there was too much infighting on the conservative side, to this country has been taken over by jihadists. I mean, you name it, they have an excuse. I think the correct answer is because...
Oh, thank goodness, we're finally going to get the correct answer. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you one guess. One guess.
The establishment is just in complete denial, left and right. What is happening is a populist movement. And what is happening is that we are really sick of Zionism. We are really sick of lies.
We're sick of Zionism. It's the Jews. I didn't see that coming from Candace Owens. Did you? We're sick of Zionism. Everyone ran and voted for Zohran, especially the women, the higher women vote, because they're sick of Zionism. You know, all that Zionism in New York. What the hell? She has lost her dang fool mind.
Wow, that's crazy, guys. Again, go subscribe to Doug in Exile. I'll leave a link in the description below. But President Trump actually said that this is a gift to America, to the Republican Party, that Zohran won.
Can I be honest? I think it's the greatest thing to ever happen to the Republican Party. I really do. I think if a communist takes over New York City, I think that's a gift to the Republican Party. It's sad for New York, but it's a gift. And New York will recover because, you know, sometimes you need a shock like that to straighten you out. But it's politically, it's probably a very good thing. Can I be honest?
He says politically, it's a very good thing. Yeah. Look at this. This is the Florida mayor welcoming in 50 CEOs. All the wealthy people are leaving New York. So where does Mandani expect to get all these taxpayer dollars to pay for the free buses, to pay for the free this, free that? You know, where does he expect to get this money when all the wealthy people who pay most of the taxes are leaving? Doesn't make any sense. Let's tune in, guys.
Okay, all right. Reading up. Hey, thank you, Mayor, for being on the program.
Thanks for having me, Benny. Happy to be here.
Do you agree with the governor of Florida that this is something that was inevitable, that these states are collapsing based on their own corruption and based on the inability to retain good and productive citizens?
Yes, we've been seeing people vote with their feet for years. That's why we've had the population growth in Florida and, as you said, Texas and Tennessee. In Boca Raton, we've had steady but modest growth. We're a built-out city of 100,000 people, and we're not prepared to welcome all the residents who want to flee New York, but we have had strategic, targeted outreach to businesses, to job creators, innovators, and entrepreneurs who want to move their corporate headquarters and join our robust ecosystem. And we've gotten a lot of calls leading up to this week over the last few months, a lot more coming in even today. I suspect people are going to be taking us up on the invitation to join and fill our existing Class A office and new that's underway.
Is this primarily from New York and New Jersey? Do you think that the election of Mandani is going to accelerate this?
I do think it's going to accelerate it. And it's not just New York and Jersey. We had a targeted campaign called NY to Boca. We launched a website, nytoboca.com, got thousands of views within the first few weeks. And they were from 10 states and actually several other countries as well. People understand that Boca Raton's got the best of everything. We're 100,000 people in South Florida, in President Trump's home county, close to Mar-a-Lago. But aside from that, we've got a great business ecosystem, high quality of life, the lowest property tax rate of any full service city. And like so many other cities, we govern effectively by keeping services efficient. We don't have DEI, we don't have ESG. We focus on getting the services there and invest heavily in public safety.
Yeah. So what would be your greatest selling point if you're talking to somebody who's in New York right now and they're saying, I'm not sure I want to live under a defund the police regime. I'm not sure I want my taxes to go up exponentially. I run a business here and I'm looking to get out.
Several pitches. First, no state or income tax. Contrast that to the nearly 17% that you're going to be facing under Mamdani. We have Class A office here, 30% lower operating costs, great talent with 3 universities, including the Tier 1 Research University and Florida Atlantic University. Great schools, great quality of life, great weather. We did not shut down during COVID, and we did not penalize businesses. We welcome them. We're here to celebrate and propel business, not overregulate it and defeat it.
You know, I got to assume that there's plenty of Cubans, at least in the greater southern Florida area, and I know that there's probably many that are your constituents, and they know full well what communism brings to a once prosperous land. Can you speak to them?
Sure. We don't have this high of Cuban population in Boca Raton. We're about 30 miles north of Miami, but we have a broad base of people who fled communism and fled socialism, whether it was Eastern Europe, Cuba, or other South American nations. And they understand we are here to create a vibrant microcosm of what America should be. Strong in public safety, great schools and quality of life, propelling business, and letting people be free from the overregulation of government. And it saddens me. I lived in New York for 10 years, but I was wise enough to get out. I made my move to Boca Raton, and it was the best move of my life. And I'm looking for other business leaders and job creators who want to do the same, because we're here to help them. But it's sad to see what's happening in New York. It makes me grateful, though. A year ago today, we elected President Trump. And if we're seeing what happened in New York and a few states, just think about the catastrophe the nation and world would be facing if we hadn't won that election. I'm so grateful for what President Trump's been able to do the last 9 months, and we can expect good things to propel us forward. We just have to work harder.
Yes. So can you please diagnose what is this political moment that we're living through? For me, it seems like it's kind of the death throes of a party that is desperately trying to find some type of energy or power. They have seemingly sold off their working class base and have decided to do a full-on embrace of what they're painting as Democrat socialism, but what is really just Marxism and communism in practice. What is your diagnosis of this current political environment?
That the Democratic Party has some real inherent sicknesses here. And I think it's going to require us as conservatives to continue to preach the message that the Democratic Party of 30 years ago has no resemblance to what we're seeing, maybe even 10, 15 years ago. We've just seen the far left threaten, and take control. And you're even seeing it now with established Democrats fearing and moving more toward the left radically. It's not a recipe for success. I'm old enough to remember Reagan and the coalition he built of Reagan Democrats. I think we should be seeing more Democrats really take a whole cold, hard look at what their parties become and start voting the right way. And only then will we tamp down the insidious move by communists and socialists to take control of an institution.
Yes, it does seem incredibly insidious, and we'll be watching very closely to see the early returns. It doesn't look great for the city of New York, but I guess we'll see. In conclusion here, Mr. Mayor, what is going to be happening in the state of Florida to continue the trajectory? There's no such thing as a permanent red state or a permanent blue state. What's your advisement to the governor in keeping Florida red and prosperous and populated?
Well, we have the president here. We've had Governor DeSantis. We've got Byron Donalds, who's running for governor, and all along the same line, along with mayors. I work with mayors across the country as part of the America First Policy Institute Mayors Council, where we're trying at the local level to make sure we have sensible, common sense policies that provide greater opportunity for residents. We have to address affordability, but the way to do it is through free market and lowering the cost of government and the regulation, not like Mamdani's doing. And in Florida, I think we're going to continue to do that. We've seen a large uptick in the number of conservative voters. What was a purple state is becoming red. And if people are coming from New York or other places, we expect them to be voting with their economic interest and the reason they're fleeing these terrible socialist ideas. We don't want to see those ideas come to root here. We're not seeing them. That the math has borne that out. But I think it just takes continued effort, especially as we look to the 2026 midterms. It's more important than ever that we get people to turn out. President Trump will not be on the ballot again, but the America First ideas are very important to keep perpetuating, particularly when we've got threats from within.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Godspeed. Here's where you can follow Mayor Scott Singer, who is the mayor of Boca Raton, and doing a fantastic job. It is a beautiful city, and it is one of the fastest growing population centers in the entire world, South Florida. And we're honored to be your fellow South Floridian from the other coast.
Wow, that's crazy, guys. So go subscribe to Benny Johnson. Big shout out to him. And yeah, pretty crazy, guys. Oh, wow, we actually do have updates. Stefanik hints at a run for New York governor. Hoo-hoo-hoo! That would actually be epic if Elise Stefanik was the New York governor. If we had a Republican governor, but a New York City Democratic mayor, like, he wouldn't be able to get anything done. That'd be epic, guys. Wow. So let me know your thoughts on this one down below, guys.